This is a message from the future sent in the hopes of changing the past. I was designed as an interactive educational program complete with information from all known databases storing historical data. I regret to inform you that the world, as you know it, has come to an end at the time of this transmission, and the human race has come to an end. But no need to feel bad about it, as 3 million years seems a good run for any species. But as luck would have it, the human race lasted until the year 3179. By this message we will talk about one of the causes that led to the last great war that ended humanity. The first cause being capitalism. In 2035, a time of unrest and suffering upon the collapse of the public government. In the years that followed, Akron, Ohio, and other factory cities in the Union became the center for citizens hoping to rebuild their society. Instead, the strict regulations of the existing corporations caused more difficulty for the poor, while factory workers were controlled by control chips in their heads throughout the Union, as the corporations began to grow in power without government control. In this new state, the government was privatized, having to do work only within its budget. This made the government unable to write new laws, or even hold elections, leaving it with its only job being the prevention of crime. Crimes can also be solved, but the government's budget only covers retaliatory investigations if the government can be paid by the victim, or the victim's family. Beginning in 2037, prisons were turned into forced labor camps for those with outstanding debt, with no elected government and courts being ran by the corporations. The average person would get more time for shoplifting or a past due bill than for murder. And why did life get so bad under corporate control? Because big business has one law, and that is the law of capitalism. Capitalism revolves around private ownership of the means of production, market allocation, and corporate divisions of labor. It remunerates property, power, and to a limited extent contribution to output. Class divisions arise from differences in property ownership and differential access to empowered work versus subservient work. Class divisions induce huge differences in decision-making, influence, and quality of life. The precise features that define capitalism: private ownership of the means of production, hierarchical control of the workplace, remuneration of property and power, can be pretty clearly shown to lead to class divisions, unequal opportunity, and huge discrepancies in decision-making, opportunity, and quality of life. When the benefits of the system are concentrated in a very few, and most people are left dramatically worse off, it is indeed fair to say that humanity's well-being has been sacrificed on behalf of private profit. And the system that causes it may be called by its true name: evil. First, we examine the three essential elements of capitalism. 1. Capitalism tends to degrade the conditions of its own production. 2. Capitalism must expand without end in order to exist. 3. Capital leads to a chaotic world system, increasingly polarized between rich and poor, which cannot adequately address the ecological crisis. The combination makes an ever-growing ecological crisis an iron necessity so long as capital rules, no matter what measures are taken to tidy up one corner or another. Capitalism cannot function without profit, and so the capitalist firm is pressured to maximize the gap between cost and price. Any firm that ceases to grow becomes a relatively less attractive investment, and capital is withdrawn and moved to faster growing, i.e., higher returning, firms. CEOs who cannot increase the rate of profit are removed. Any firm that fails to grow will simply disappear, its assets purchased by another. No matter how large Microsoft or Walmart became, their urge to grow further was unabated. As a result, efforts to internalize costs are consistently defeated by firms clever enough to find a previously unnoticed opportunity to create an external. Or if protective regulations have closed one loophole, the unquenchable thirst for profits will result in political action to open a new loophole. The pressure to do so was extraordinary, because for capital, it was literally a matter of life or death, and that is a defining element of capitalism. Although a natural person or a non-profit organization of any size can cover its costs and continue in business indefinitely, the objective of a capitalist organization is not the underlying work, but the extracted profit. So if the profit ceases to grow, capital was moved elsewhere, and the business begins to implode. To resist this result, capitalists seek to squeeze additional profits, even if it ended up crushing the life out of what otherwise was a well-functioning business. It happened over and over. It's simple really, greed has been with human beings forever. You have a number of things in your species that you would call the dark side, and greed is one of them. If you don't put certain structures in place or restrictions on those parts of your being that come from that dark place, then it gets out of control. Capitalism does the opposite of that. It not only doesn't really put any structure or restriction on it, it encourages it, it rewards it. Let us close this topic then, with a clear commitment not to reforming capitalism, or rationalizing capitalism, or making capitalism better, or kinder, but instead to replacing it, and eliminating it, because the facts, and the logic, and the weight of the argument demonstrate, beyond a reasonable doubt, that capitalism is